Howdy, y'all. You're listening to the Yak Legion podcast. I'm Zach Carell, and tonight I have Heather Smith from Texas. She is a writer for Florida Fisherman Magazine. This chick has all kinds of stuff in the works for her. Let's get in and talk to her. How's it going tonight, Heather?
It's good. I hope everybody can hear me. It's raining here on Lake Sam Rayburn, so but it's good. Life is good. I have no complaints. It's the beginning of the year.
Oh, great. I know this is a Yak Legion. We're a kayak fishing podcast, and I know you don't do a whole lot of kayak fishing, but you're definitely involved in the outdoor world. And that's kind of the topic of this episode is women in fishing and, just careers in the outdoor world. Like I said earlier, you were an editor and writer for Florida Fisherman Magazine. That's pretty impressive. How'd you get started doing that?
Actually, it all started when I was bass fishing. I started doing tournaments, and I had another network reach out to me to do a TV show with them, and it wasn't something in the scope of where I wanted to go. And so I was just getting a lot of exposure on social media and different programs and things of that nature. And then they actually found me. So Darren Lucci, who is one of the editors for Florida Fisherman Magazine, reached out to me, and they wanted to do an article on me. And then I spoke to the president of the magazine, which is Robert Warner. And, my goal is really to get female anglers more involved in fishing as well as children, and trying to bring the outdoors to their front door and make things more comfortable for them. And because women are intimidated, let's be honest, in a sport that's really dominated by men, it's intimidating. It was intimidating to me. And Robert reached out. We had the same scope. And ever since then, I joined on with them, and it's been lovely. I love them.
Oh, wow. Wow. One of the best kayak fishermen in the country is a woman, Christine Fisher.
Yeah, the Midwest Fisher Gal. Actually, she was my female angler of the week about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, did you do an article about her?
I did. Well, I did a small post. What started off with me doing female angler of the week on my Facebook page, which I have a lot of followers, and I put it on my Instagram because I have about 10,000 followers there. And then the Florida Fisherman Magazine, we have about 2 million subscribers nation or global internationally. So they actually, we talked, and now I'll be doing one on a monthly basis with them as well. So everyone that was my female angler of the week on my Facebook will eventually make it over to the magazine. It's just that 1 month, and this is a weekly basis,
Mm-hmm. So what kind of articles do you typically run about women in fishing?
It's different. I mean, each one is different. I do it on kids as well. Cricket Coates is, she's a kid. She's actually 14 or 15 years old. She's out of Florida. And so I'm just impressed with what she's doing. I mean, you got a 15-year-old that's doing the Junior Bass Championship. And at the same time, she's holding workshops on the weekends at Bass Pro Shop to teach other younger children how to fish. So that's impressive to me. So, that's article material for me. Bayou Barbie, Lisa Crossan is another one. She's in New Orleans. She's amazing. And forefronts and people that are on the forefront are dominating the industry. And it's not even a matter of dominating. It's, they face adversity. That everybody knows what it's like walking into a man's kitchen and, saying you can cook with the big boys too, and stepping up to the plate and not only just hitting, a run, but making a home run. So I watch patiently, and, people send me articles all the time or different anglers. And I also do it on huntresses and hunters as well. So, I don't discriminate. So it changes up.
Oh, wow. So you hunt quite a bit too.
I just went. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I just went. I did it. Actually, the article hasn't came out yet. So. But I did do a lot of live feed on it, and I went hunting with a little huntress. She's 14 years old. Her name is Booba. I think she just turned 15 actually this week, or she will be turning 15. We went to an exotic game ranch, Whiskey Hollow Ranch here in Texas, and we did a live feed on an oryx hunt. And then I was able to actually even trank a red stag and medicate it, and then brought it back to life, which was hysterical because you ever seen the movie Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
Try reviving a stag that big, and then you're like, run, so it was definitely that was a way to go out. And on film, I was going to go out dramatically.
Oh wow! So you mentioned earlier that the fishing industry and the outdoor industry can be kind of intimidating for women. Why do you think that is?
Well, because I mean, I'm a prime example. Like when I grew up, I'm from Louisiana, and then because of a divorce and because of work reasons, I ended up going my junior high and high school years were in Houston. So I was at went to Clear Lake High School, and so of course when we went on vacations and things of that nature, they would give you a fishing pole and you would perch fish or things like that. Or I had an uncle that's a guide in Homa, and my very first fish was a sheephead, but it wasn't as often. And so whenever I wanted to get into the industry, my entire family, all my predecessors passed away last year or the year before. So cumulatively, it's just me and my children. I don't have a male figure to reach out to ask what to do. And if you don't have someone to call, or you weren't raised in the industry, or have a significant other that's in the industry, it can be very intimidating for a woman to walk in where it's a bunch of guys, because as you see on I don't know if you've seen this, but on my post, I get a lot of people that I have to take off and block because they want to razz me about a fish that I caught. You didn't really catch that. I mean, I'll even post the video of me catching it, reeling it in, and boat flipping it, and yet they're still making derogatory comments about it, because I'm like, wow, wait till you find out we can boat too.
Yeah, that's awful, but I think mainly the reason you see so many women on Instagram in bikinis and they're holding fish. Sometimes they didn't catch that fish. They might have caught that fish. And I think that kind of gives women a bad rap, like women trying to take the fishing industry seriously. You got these bikini babes on Instagram that are holding these big fish, these big redfish and big bass and stuff like that. And I think, what is your opinion on that?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I have a different scope on that. I mean, I do know what you're talking about. I believe stolen valor is, if you try to pretend to be a Navy SEAL or, a soldier when you weren't. I think it's the same thing. And I think if you didn't catch something, don't pose with it, but as far as being in a bikini, I have no problem with that. I think that we should be able to wear whatever. To be honest with you, I get a lot of slack too, because I'm in the gym all the time. I also wear bikinis when I'm fishing, not all the time, obviously in tournaments, but I don't want to look like a fag for tan lines. So, I will wear a bikini top sometimes. Sometimes I'll even just wear a face shield like a gator, and I'll have a bikini top on, and people give me crap about that. But I mean, I just had a chemical peel done during the summer, and so I had to wear a face shield, but yet, I didn't want to have a bunch of stripes on me from wearing a short sleeve shirt. So I wore a bikini top to even out my tan. And I don't have a problem with women posing with bikinis. I think the best way to fix that, the best solution, in my opinion, is pose with what you caught. I'm more of I don't believe in participation awards. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. I understand that. It's just kind of my point is, when you have a man on there and he's got a 10-pound bass and he gets, 500 likes, but then you have a woman that has a smaller bass and she's in a bikini and she gets 10,000 likes. You know what I mean? It's kind of controversial.
Right. No, it is. And I can understand where it would be emasculating for a man. But you have to realize, too, from the journalist standpoint and looking at media statistics, it goes in order. The 4 things that are most looked at on media. Okay. The number 1 looked at thing is children. The number 2 looked at thing are women. The number 3 looked at thing are animals. 4 is guys. So, I mean, if they're going to get mad if a dog poses with a fish, you know what I'm saying? So it's not my fault. That's just the mindset,
I got you. Yeah, I respect that. So you said you're in Texas right now and you write for a Florida magazine. Do you do most of your fishing in Texas, or do you travel around?
Well, it depends. Whenever I do tournaments, bass fishing tournaments, I stick to Rayburn. Okay. And as a matter of fact, I had Mike Taylor, a friend of mine from the stump, trying to get me on do the BFL and travel. And then I had the Pro Tour, the Women's Tri-State Pro Tour, invite me on this year for 2020. I just don't have time because I have the kids. So, but as far as my articles go, it's out of Florida. What we are changing the name of the magazine. I can't release that name yet, but we are, it's an international magazine. So we, The articles are all over. So, Louisiana obviously is one that I'll be going to. Tracy Hartman, who owns the 4-pound line class world record for largemouth bass. She's in California. I'll be going with her. Ellie Phillips, she's up in Colorado. I'm doing an article with her. Mandy Hartman is in Missouri. So it's all over. Plus, I fish for Team Vector Hook. So I'll be out there checking them out with the Bassmaster Classic this year.
Yeah, I saw you had some sponsors. What all sponsors do you have?
I got some great sponsors. I love them. They've been wonderful. This right here is Over the Horizon Fishing. John Wamsley, he's a veteran Coast Guard and a police officer up in Rhode Island, so Northeast. Great stuff. They have a wonderful American flag series. Hookspit, that's all my rods as well. I have the Blackwater series for Hookspit. Great rods. I absolutely love them. And they have a really good clothing line. I went to school with the owner of it. So I believe once you get to a certain situation, you always help everybody, flip flops, which are some really cool flip flops that have interchangeable bottoms that grip. So if you were to try to do on rock, or depending on what your terrain is, you can actually change out the bottoms. There's cleats, and then there's felt, great, which is good for kayaking, I've heard. So 5 different pieces that you can put on the bottom. Real Wicked Apparel is another one. That's Gayla McBride. She's awesome. She's out of Texas. They've got some great stuff for women, because it's very difficult to find women's fishing clothing that isn't for a guy, like just unisex, Yeah. And then I have Vector Hooks out of Florida, which is JB Wiggins is the owner of Vector Hooks. They're amazing. They just did a huge drive for autism.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Now, when you mentioned doing kayak tournament, not kayak, fishing tournaments, what kind of fishing tournaments, bass fishing tournaments are you doing? Are you out of a bass boat, or are you on the bank?
No, I'm using, we have a nitro, so I've been fishing out of a boat. I don't do bank. I mean, I do bank fishing sometimes, but I'm a bass boat girl. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll catch a bass at a pontoon boat any day, but as my kids have. But I think you heard that on the last podcast I was on. But I do bass boats.
Oh, great! Well, you said you had a nitro.
Yeah, 2019. I don't. My fishing partner does. I have my boat's right over there. So, but it's not a nitro.
Oh, what kind of boat do you have?
I do not have a bass boat just yet, so I'm about to trade it out. But with everything with my mom's with the estate, until that's settled, I can't really do anything.
Oh, I understand that. What kind of electronics do you typically use on your bass boats?
Lowrance, which is funny. I don't know if you went back on my post, because I took it out with a rattle trap on November 17th. I got snagged, and I was trying to pull it back, and when I did, it came flying back, and I just kind of leaned out, and it hit the monitor. So we've been in a little crisis with Lowrance trying to get that monitor fixed. So it was a little funny.
Oh, well, yeah. Would you ever give kayak fishing a shot?
We talked about this. Are you going to put me on the spot here? No, I don't. Huh?
I just laughed.
Yeah, you did. I knew this was going to happen. My props are up to kayak fishermen 100%, but I don't think it's my cup of tea. If you know me, I do well to walk and chew gum at the same time, so I don't really think, or it would make good TV. I don't know. It could be a disaster for me and great for everybody else. Everybody's good time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they make a lot of really stable kayaks, and I'm a big guy myself, and I'm on a Hobie PA 12, and I'm perfectly comfortable in that thing. I can move around, I can stand up, I can cast, I can do all that stuff, and I love it. I'm a big guy. I don't feel uncomfortable in it. You might want to give it a second thought. That's all I'm saying. Stand up.
Yeah, because I had to do a photo shoot recently in a kayak, and I was like, oh Lord, it was okay, but it was definitely not one you would stand up in. That's for sure.
Yeah, you need to get a quality fishing kayak to really enjoy it. Yeah, that's something else. But getting into bass fishing, what type of gear do you throw? What kind of rods and reels do you typically use?
I have Shimano's and Lew's, but the rods are Hookspit. That's what we talked about earlier. So I've got their Blackwater series, and then Mike, I already know this is going to come. So my go-to is a Senko 100%. But we fish a lot of deep water here, So a Texas rig is where I like to go.
Oh, what do you use on your Texas rig?
What do you mean?
Like,
The
what bait are you using in the Texas rig?
it's the curly tail worm. Well, it depends on where we're at. You know what I mean? So I could do a curly tail worm, or sometimes I'll put a Senko on there. I mean, if it's V&M, we've got to use a V&M product. So I mean, it all depends on where we are and what they're. And it changes, to be honest with you, because as you know, or you bass fish, right? Even in your
Oh
kayak,
yeah,
is that what you're?
yeah,
Okay. So
bass fish.
the color will change depending on the day. Yeah. Depending on the day, depending on the clarity of the water, depending on the wind, it'll change.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, we'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with Heather Smith. And we're back with Heather Smith. So it sounds like you're a busy lady. What next do you have in store for 2020?
Oh, 2020 is going to be epic. It's actually really busy. I actually leave on the 15th of this month. Hold on. I'm heading down to South Texas, and I'll be shooting an episode with Vicky Chrysler on the Texas Outdoors Lifestyle Show. So, and that's on NBC. And we are doing 1 day hunting for an axis, 1 day offshore fishing, and then 2 day inshore fishing. So that will be great. And then I head from there over to New Orleans and back to Barataria, Louisiana. We're going to check out Woodlands Plantation. I've got Robert Warner, who is the the president of the magazine, coming in, as well as a good friend and special guest, Jeff Capperton, who is an actor and producer. He's been on Deepwater Horizon. He's been in Daddy's Home. He was a regular on NCIS New Orleans. He's just produced a new movie, or new TV series called Be Someone, based on being in Houston, and it's a great series. And so he's actually going to join me in New Orleans. So we're all going to fish and do a lot of fishing and talk a little bit of shop, and obviously talk about his new series coming out. Then I've got Willard Franklin that has the 4 W's. I'll be joining him throughout the year, going down into the schools. We're going to be we bring boats, or he brings boats and rods and different things into the schools, so these kids that have never seen it, just they've never got to witness it. So it's not just shock and awe. It's maybe to get their interest peaked to, hey, come on, mom and dad, let me go fishing. So
Yeah.
for girls and guys, and being a woman going in there, it's not just a guy thing,
Oh,
so
yeah. 100%.
yeah. So I think that's awesome. After that, we have I've got the Bassmaster Classic. I've got some other things with vector hooks coming up, and then I'm traveling around, going and doing articles everywhere. I've got one with the guys from Lone Star Law. I've got another thing going on with Jeremy McKay from Naked and Afraid. I'm going to see Aaron Phillips, that was on Animal Planet Guide and Naked and Afraid as well, and National Geographic. So I'll be with him in Georgia fishing as well. He just actually caught 11.5 pounder on December 31st. I was like, what a great way to end 2019. Yeah. So just traveling and fishing. Plan on doing a female anglers trip to try to get all the amazing anglers across the United States, all the female anglers, as well as is ones that aren't known. It's not a matter of being known, it's a matter of your passion for fishing. So I'd like to get everyone together and get into to Key West, this year, because I went to Cuba.
Oh, you go to Cuba a lot?
No, I went for, it's really funny, actually. This is probably my funniest fishing story ever. I went this last summer, and I do a bucket list trip every year. And so I went this last year, and I have a friend of mine. He's just a friend, but he was going and I was going, and we've been friends for like 20 years. Like, you're gonna go, so we made our trip at the same time. Well, he went and checked out the ruins, and he's a good old country boy. He's already been like 4 times. I went down there to go get my marlin. Well, I went out of Ernest Hemingway Marina. After 15 minutes, I got my marlin. It was phenomenal. Like, if anybody gets an opportunity to go. But I'm notorious for taking selfies. Everyone makes fun of me about it. And we were in the car, and and this is gonna sound bad, so please, I apologize to my friend. I just remember a good old country boy. Okay, so I'm in the car and I'm in the back seat. They have a very strict rule there. You can't take selfie. I mean, you can't take pictures of the federal buildings because they think it's espionage.
Oh, wow.
Well, we're in one of these old, you know, the 50s cars, and I'm like here and I'm taking a selfie, right? Like I've got it up. Well, all of the soldiers thought I was taking a picture of the federal building that they had there. So they came over. We're at a red light, and they came over and they literally, I'm not paying attention because I'm paying attention to what I'm doing. And I hear the cab driver start screaming, and these people are screaming. And I'm like, oh God, I'm thinking we're getting jumped. Way worse. I get yanked out by my collar out of the back of the vehicle, and they take my phone, and the cab driver is trying to explain to me, you know, what's going on. And I speak a little Spanish. I can understand it more than I could speak it. I'm in Texas, of course. And my good old boyfriend doesn't at all, like nothing. And I'm screaming, I was a selfie. It was a selfie. You know, you're panicking because they're putting you down. Like they got their foot on the back of my neck. You know what I mean? They've got me on the ground. It's bad.
Wow.
And my friend screams out, I don't speak Mexican, but I'm pretty sure they don't know what a selfie is. So, because they had yanked him out of the car. But it was by far my funniest adventure ever in fishing, because it was a fishing trip. So to me, that's epic.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one. That's probably one of the crazier ones I've had on the podcast. And I had Jody Queen on, and a alligator came out of the water at Okeechobee and attacked him, and he had to fight it off with a paddle. And I think that story right there might have just beat it.
No, it was epic, and that's the joke, because they went through my phone. I had to show them everything, and once everything kind of calmed down, but that's my close friends always make fun of me for all my selfies, and they're like, if anyone's gonna die from a selfie, it would be you. I was like, I know what happened. So but now I can look back and laugh. At the time, it was obviously very frightening.
So how big was your marlin?
135 pounds.
Wow. How long was that?
137. You know what I mean? If you want to get real technical. So I have pictures of her on my Facebook and on my Instagram. She looks skinny compared to some of the ones that I see that other people catch, you know, but I was just so happy, and it happened so quickly. They had another guy that was there a week before me, and he spent 8 hours a day for 7 days a week, or 7 days in 1 week, you know, marlin fishing, and he didn't even catch one, and it took me 15 minutes.
Well, what'd you catch it on?
I didn't have anything to do with that. I hired a boat, and it was literally me and 3 guys, and 2 of them didn't speak any English at all.
Oh, wow. How'd you communicate back and forth?
The captain actually speaks English. And then one guy was trying, it was very broken. And my uncle used to live in Acapulco. So like I said, when I would go visit, I can understand them. And when I speak it, it's very opposite of how I speak English, because I talk so fast. But over there, I know my conjugation's bad. I just get the verb out. That's it. You know what I mean? It's like very basic. I'm sure I sound like, you know, I have a very low IQ to those when I'm speaking Spanish too, you know, so, but the captain was the one that was translating everything, and they dropped hooks, and they had all of the stuff sitting on ice when we got there. It took about 45 minutes to get her in, and then we went in. I mean, it was just really simple. They're actually really, really nice, and the prices were phenomenally low. I mean, I only paid 180 kooks to have my own charter, and that's the equivalent to like, and we're 150 kooks, which is like the equivalent to $180 American.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you catch marlin, you catch largemouth bass. What else do you fish for?
Okay. Just last month, actually, I would say November, I had a personal best in one day. We had black drum, we had trout, we had bulls, we had freshwater catfish. I mean, saltwater, freshwater, no catfish. We had catfish. And then I'm trying to think what else we had. Did I say sheephead?
No, you said drum.
Yeah, and sheephead. So, and a rat red. So, I mean, we had a good day. It depends on where we're going. I mean, I've caught a black marlin in Hawaii, and that was back in 2000. So, that was nice. But my mom told my parents then, but and I'm going for a striped marlin in Cabo next.
Oh, wow. When are you doing that?
Well, it was going to be the plan this year, but it looks like trying to get all the lady anglers together because I don't want to be selfish about it and just do it for me. So everybody's budget can't afford to go to Cabo. So I think Key West is a little bit more feasible.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that you're going to be working with some TV shows. Are you on the show, or do you kind of work behind the scenes?
Well, I'll be co-hosting the show with Vicky. So I'm going to be co-hosting the episode where I go down there. And then I think we're actually having another episode later that we'll be doing on an aoudad hunt, which is going to be another hunt later. And then I have another show that actually the co-host and just contacted me, I think that we were telling you, that just texted me literally right before I came on with you. And that's in Florida. That'll be out of Lakeland.
Wow, man, it seems like you're a busy gal. So
yeah, well, I'm looking, the Florida one's going to be interesting. I'm set to go do an episode python hunting, and so that's going to be really interesting.
Python hunting? Don't they have a bounty right now in Florida for them?
They do. And so I, if you know anything about me, you know, there's my two biggest fears. Like spiders, I have no problem with spiders. You know, like ghosts, don't care. You know, sharks and snakes, I'll walk on water, speak in Latin, and my head will spin around. Like it's going to be an adventure.
Oh, wow. You know, something about Florida I've learned recently is that there's monkeys in Florida. I had no idea there was monkeys in Florida. But I had a buddy, Dustin Hoy. He went down a river, and they took pictures of manatees, crocodile, alligators, and had monkeys on there. Have you ever seen any down there in Florida?
I think, as a matter of fact, Aaron Phillips, who I was talking about earlier, he just moved to Georgia. He was in Kings Landing, which is like the river area where they have a lot of great stuff. Yeah. And that is where we're going to be, or that's where he was, I'm sorry. And they have a lot of really cool stuff. I think he may have posted a monkey. I got a friend of mine, Mark Russo, who's the VP for the Miami Heat and over there in iHeartMedia. So he has a whole zoo on his property. So I know he has monkeys. So that's one place I know has. Yeah.
Well, be careful, because I heard there's a skunk ape that roams the Florida swamps down there. I think that's Florida. It's Florida's version of Bigfoot.
Oh no! You know that's a big thing here in East Texas.
Really?
Yeah. So when I first moved here, okay, I had just got acclimated to everything, and there's cougars here. So, and I'm not talking about older women, you know, and they had. I came home. It was around Christmas, and there was a cougar on my driveway, and I was like, oh Lord, I'm not about to go with this thing. So, I had to go up backwards up my staircase. Well, another time I came out and it's sitting on the porch, right? So I slammed the door and I'm up against the back of the door, and the littles are like, is everything okay? I'm like, get in the bathroom, you know? So I got a thermal imaging camera so I could, you know, see if anything was out there if I wanted to take the trash out. Well, lo and behold, right after this incident happened, I walk into like a Valero and they have this flyer, and the flyer was for the Deep East Texas Bigfoot Convention. And I'm like, nah. Right. So I'm looking at it and it has like a list of guests. And then it had just happened like the week before me reading the flyer. And I don't know what's worse, the fact that I was actually starting to look up these theories that for the area, or I was even disappointed that I missed the convention.
Well, you traveled around a little bit. You ever seen a Bigfoot?
I've seen some big hairy people, but I don't think that they equate to Bigfoot, you know? So, I've seen some people that probably need to take a bath or lay off a couple of things.
Yeah. You know, my buddies joke around with me a little bit because I have a Bigfoot sighting from 2005, and we were spotlighting in the woods, and I had something crazy looking up at me in the spotlight, and that's always stuck with me. So it's kind of funny we're mentioning the Bigfoot thing. Some of my buddies give me a hard time for seeing Bigfoot, but I know what I saw, man. It was something else.
Yeah, dude, I never knock anybody. Nobody knows anything. They're still fighting new species all over this world. So I am the last person to judge. That it is such a big thing here that the elementary school my kids go to, the field next to it, somebody made like a big steel cutout of a Bigfoot, and it's like up in the field, you know? And so
Freak people out.
yeah. So as a matter of fact, when the kids go back to school, I'll take a picture of it and I'll send it to you so you can see what I'm talking about. Because I was like, man, this ain't cool. Like it would really flip somebody out at nighttime because there's no lights out here. It's just so dark, you know. And if you just come across that, I mean, if I was a little older, I may have a heart attack.
Wow. Well, back to fishing. You said you'd make a bucket list trip every year. What are some of the trips you've made? And are they all fishing and hunting, or some of them vacation, or?
Some are vacation, some are hunting. I mean, obviously, Hawaii, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Jamaica, Bahamas, Florida. I mean, California. As far as the continental United States, I think I've been everywhere but like 8 states or 10 states or something like that. So, but yeah, Nicaragua, we went fishing in Nicaragua. We went fishing. I didn't get to fish in Costa Rica. I was 5 months along, so with the baby, so it wasn't a good idea for me to go fishing at the time. But we caught some blackfin shark in Nicaragua, and then California was always nice. The Bahamas, we were fishing in the Bahamas as well, and Jamaica was really great. Now Jamaica we went to go fishing in Jamaica, and that was the plan. But I ended up. This was back when I was younger, about 5 years ago, actually. I would say younger, 5 years ago. And we indulged a little bit, so I got rather sick. That didn't go so well. I was chum for everybody, so.
My mom's been to Jamaica. I've never been, but she said little kids would run up to her on the street and say, ganja, 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 and hold up bags of weed trying to sell her some smoke. And, of course, she bought some.
What? And she bought some?
Yeah.
Actually, my friend I went with, he got some too. And to be honest with you, we had like this elbow room suite, and then the next day I couldn't find him anywhere, and he was still passed out on the swing outside. And I was like, "Hey, buddy, did you sleep out here?" So there's fun, but yeah, you don't get in trouble in Jamaica. I found this out. Smoking over there is not a good thing, but they only have to pay like a really minor fine it's nothing over there if you're smoking. So weed's pretty acceptable over there. But everybody's happy, which explains it. It's one of my favorite places because everybody's happy.
Oh yeah, I heard it's a party central.
Yeah.
My mother went there in college as part of a college trip, and they just partied the whole time. I think they're supposed to be learning something, but they just partied the whole time.
Yeah, I learned to put my liver on eBay. That's what happened I learned from that trip.
Oh, wow. I gotcha. So another question I ask is all my guests, what's a cool fishing story? And I know you already told your last fishing story. That's probably topped any fishing story I've had on here so far. But maybe what's another one you can come to mind? It could be something tragic, something hilarious, something sad, scary.
Okay. Actually, the very first, it's funny because it's the very first time I ever caught a fish. The very first time I ever caught a fish was, I don't remember the age, but I lost my first tooth that day. So that'll tell you how old I was, and we were at a cocodrie, which is in Louisiana, fishing, and they had set up a camp, and I was out on the pier, and my aunt had told me that I couldn't go swimming. And, I got a sheep head on the line, and it was pulling, and she's like, I told you can go swim. She thought I was jumping in. I was like, it's a fish. So, I'll look back on those memories because that was a really good time. It was my first time to actually catch a fish, and it was a great fight for my age. And that,
Oh yeah, you were a little pipsqueak then.
Yeah, I lost my first tooth to bologna sandwich. I won't forget that one. So, and one of my favorite fish that I think is cobia, is we caught a cobia like a ling. We were out in the Gulf of Mexico, and that thing was zooming all around. We were by a buoy, and it was just all over. And I mean, I was literally running back and forth all over the back of the boat. But that was exhilarating.
Wow. So what's your biggest fish you've ever caught, and what's your biggest largemouth bass?
Largemouth bass is 7.7. I haven't got to get any bigger ones than that, so, and I'm a little disappointed about that. And then 270s. Gosh, it was back in 2000. So, and that, to be honest with you, I wasn't taking the fishing so seriously then. You know, it's just something I did with my parents. So it was, I know it was over 250, under 300, and that was the black marlin.
Wow, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the rods and reels they use to bring in the marlins, I mean, they're huge. I mean, it takes a lot of energy to reel in those big fish, and some fights can last for hours.
Yeah, no, that took a while, and I'm gonna be honest. They helped me. I was very young and squirrely then, so I had some help there. But you definitely feel it the next day. Even in Cuba, I came back, had to see the chiropractor. I think one of the guys, because there's so many bass fishing legends here, and they fish everywhere too. And one of them, you didn't do it right, you know, because I couldn't look over my right shoulder when I came home. Like I was sore, and you know, because you know you're bending and you're reeling and you're bending and you're reeling, and I was jacked up. Like I was having problems. I looked like I had issues. No lying about it. I couldn't look over my shoulder for a while, so I was like, I'm not driving. You know, like nobody make me drive. It's gonna be bad.
I imagine. That's awesome. Yeah. So, great. So, young women or women getting into the sport of fishing, what's a piece of advice you got for them?
My biggest piece of advice is to do it. You know, don't be intimidated. Don't be scared. The best way to catch, you know, everybody wants to sit around. I hear this all the time. I see this all the time. And everybody's like, I'll watch videos first. I'll watch videos first. The best way to learn how to catch bass is to catch bass. So get out there and do it, you know, and don't let anything stand in your way. Don't let somebody tell you that you can't do it. Just start. And you don't have to start with the top of the line. Oh God, I may get in trouble for this, but you don't have to start with the top of the line gear. Just get out there, you know, make time for it and have fun with it. You know, don't be disappointed if you don't get it right the first time, especially bass fishing. There's so many techniques. You're not going to learn it in a day. You're not going to learn it in a week. You know, I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day. So just practice each technique, get familiar with it, and have fun with it.
Oh, 100%. I agree with you 100%. So what's a piece of advice you would give somebody that's wanting to get into the outdoors industry, kind of like writing for a magazine or getting involved with some companies?
Yeah, are you doing what I do?
Yeah.
Okay. Be honest. Enjoy yourself. Be prepared for scrutiny because it'll happen. But, you know, just get out there and keep your nose on the grind and pay attention to every little detail. You know, always be kind. Never look at it as a competition. There's some people, it's a house divided when I look at people like that. And you see some people that are, you know, this is a competition. I never look at it as a competition. The people I work with don't look at it as a competition. We try to lift everybody up. Networking is key in this industry, and being kind to one another is so important. So just continue doing what you're doing. Take everything. If somebody that wants to have my hello?
Yeah, so we're back. We had some technical difficulties here. I think it's a connection issue. So my question was, what's a piece of advice you got somebody that's trying to get in the outdoor industry, like becoming an editor for a magazine, trying to work with some fishing companies, hunting companies? Like, what's something they can do to put themselves out there to get involved in something like you do?
Okay. There's actually a couple things, and I'm glad that we redid this for technical difficulties. The continue to put yourself out there. Maintain, if somebody tells you no, or somebody tells you that you're posting too much on social media, or, you know, someone tries to correct your ways, I was discovered on social media, so don't listen to what other people say. Remain positive. You know, if there's someone negative in your life that tells you, no, you're not going to do this, or, cut them out, or just don't listen to them. Try to always be on the lookout for good opportunities, always be on the lookout for good hunts, good fishing opportunities. Don't be an opportunist. Okay. But always look and scout for something that would make a great story, and just start writing and start taking pictures of it. And so that way you'll have all this stuff ready to go if you get a call last minute, or an opportunity presents itself, and you can have it. Remain positive in everything you do. And another big thing that I see a lot of people doing, I see some guys and girls, not girls as much, and I'm not trying to but there are some, don't be negative, and watch what you post on social media. These, or really crass stuff that you're posting, or if you're constantly posting pity party things or things like that. Nobody wants to really pay attention to people. That's something everybody looks over. So you're branding yourself. So watch what you say. No cursing on social media. I mean, you're trying to build an image, and image is everything. And that's what they think they're getting. And you can try to say in an interview that you're something else. Well, that's not what you're presenting to the world. So be who you are publicly and privately. Be the same person uniformly. Don't change it up, and just have integrity in everything you do. When you do find a sponsor, or you do find someone that you're working for, be loyal. Loyalty is so important, and they remember that. And so don't switch up. And don't leave them because you have better opportunities. Stay loyal to that person that helped you on.
Yeah, that really shows a lot about your character. If you really stay loyal, it shows that you're real passionate about the people that support you. And yeah, that was a good answer. Definitely a good answer. Well, do you have any shout outs or any hollers you want to give before we wrap this up?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to, if you can't, don't mind. Vector Hooks, Team Hooks. They're amazing. Vector Hooks and Lures. Look them up. Hooks Fit, custom rods and apparel. They're awesome. They're amazing. They do freshwater and saltwater. So they're phenomenal. Over the Horizon Fishing. Great gear, or great fishing apparel. Love them. Real Wicked Apparel. Take a look at that. Flip Rocks. You can't go wrong, honestly. As a matter of fact, as a kayak, I'm going to have him shout out to you, because as a kayak fisherman, those interchangeable bottoms. They are amazing and great. Sealy Outdoors. Bob Sealy has been huge, and a huge asset for me and a mentor to me. So, Sealy Outdoors, which is the big bass splash that they hold, the largest amateur fishing tournament in the world, and they hold the world record for a $305,000 first place last year. Robert Warner and Darren Lucci and Florida Fisherman Magazine. They're amazing. Vicky Chrysler with Texas Outdoor Lifestyle TV show. Lisa Crossan, the Bayou Barbie, absolutely love her. And Jeff Caperton and his new TV series coming out, Be Someone.
Wow. Yeah, I can't wait to check all that out, and I can't wait to see what comes next out of you. It seems like you got a good head on your shoulders, and you're definitely making a name for yourself in the outdoor world. And I'm kind of see what's going to happen in the next 4 or 5 years. You might be a big star.
Right. As long as I get more women and children fishing, you know what? Then I fulfilled what I was set out for. So I'm happy with that.
Well, that's awesome, Heather. Well, I appreciate you coming on the Yak Legion podcast, and it's been a real pleasure talking to you. You got some interesting stories, that's for sure, and I like your attitude.
Yeah. I have to. I got to deal with myself, so I try to make it the best one. But thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, Zach.
All right. Thanks a lot. And everybody listening, have a good day. Tight lines.